Most of the time you see someone use a cardboard box as a PC case, it's simply a money-saving tactic. But what if instead we used a multi-$100,000 machine, plus some advanced techniques, to make the most over-engineered cardboard PC case to ever exist? Well, it might look a little something like this. So today, we're gonna build an entire PC inside of here and see if it can hold up to real-life use cases. But first, let's catch you up to speed. This case started as a simple sketch on paper, which quickly turned into this prototype thanks to my good friend who's a packaging and retail display designer, the cardboard wizard, as I like to call him. We then took this prototype and then drew out on the cardboard where our specific component holes needed to be. Things like our motherboard's I/O shield, the GPU cover, the power supply, and my buddy told me to go wild with the design. And the thing I cared most about was ventilation, since I wanted this cardboard case to actually be as functional as possible. So I ended up designing these slanted stripe vents that surely would pose a challenge for the cardboard wizard. But nope, he made this in like a single day. His secret weapon is an industrial-sized CNC-like machine specifically made for creating the displays that you actually might find out in a retail store. And he was kind enough to use this like $300,000 machine for our little project here, which I am incredibly thankful for. This is the Kongsberg C64, and it basically has a titanium blade and can carve through cardboard and corrugate and a bunch of other materials like they're nothing, super quickly. And so after the machine carved out a two-dimensional version of this, my buddy assembled it with a combination of hot and cold glue techniques. And I gotta say, the end result here is a thing of beauty. I mean, check out how solid these vent cuts are. He even managed to pull off a 45-degree chamfer here, which if you look at any other cardboard PC case out there, they all have 90-degree corners. But this one, we got 45. All that said, we do have a few challenges in front of us. The first being how to actually install motherboard standoffs into the corrugate. Because while we could just penetrate the board with the screws, that's not actually all that secure. And as we add more and more components to the motherboard, it's just gonna wanna peel itself off. So I'm thinking we actually screw all the way through the board itself so that we penetrate the backside over here. That way we can push a screw all the way through and then tighten it from the other side. But crucially, we need to do that exactly where the motherboard holes line up. And if we're even off by a little bit, that could spell trouble. So the goal here is not to mess up. Oh God. Man, drilling into a motherboard always feels a little sketchy. That should be enough markings. And now in each of these holes, we need to add our little standoff mechanism. I actually think it'd be easier to do this backwards, where we put this screw in on the back side of the case. So then the standoffs can just slide right on top. Ah. Interestingly, we don't really need standoffs for the same reason you would in a normal case, because, well, we're using cardboard, which does not conduct electricity, but they do make the build come together a bit more cohesively. But okay, it's time to install our motherboard. We're going with an M-ATX ASRock board, and as we try to plop this down, do the stars align? Oh, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Our motherboard is now not only lining up with the I/O shield hole, but it has standoffs in there as well. So now we just need to tighten them up with these little guys. Just like that. And we'll make sure that these are secured down extremely tight. All right, and now for the first stability test. Oh man, that's working so well. Check that out. This motherboard is going nowhere. We didn't even use all the standoff slots, so it could be a little more secure, but honestly, I feel like this is totally fine. Which means I think it's time to install some more components. What do you say? Like I said, my main concern is the more weight we add to the motherboard, the more it's gonna wanna pull away from the cardboard when it's up, like vertically. Thankfully, RAM does not weigh too much, so we can go ahead and slap on 32 gigs of DDR5. Our NVMe is also pretty lightweight. We have the Solidigm installed, and we also already have our CPU installed. Here you can see we're going with the Ryzen 5 7600X. I am nervous about the CPU cooler though. We're going with like this AMD stock Wraith cooler, and it's gonna add quite a bit of weight to the top of the motherboard, and that'll certainly put our standoffs to the test. But there's no time like the present to test, so let's go ahead and plop this bad boy down. Tighten that. Okay. That's a chunk of metal. Let's see if this holds up. Here goes nothing. Oh, okay, it's holding. That's beautiful. This does still feel extremely sturdy, so I think we're good to go. Which means now let's install the graphics card. We'll be rocking this 7700 XT, and you might have noticed another issue we have with our case so far. When I was designing where this PCIe hole should go, I very clearly did a poor job measuring because it doesn't line up at all. The good news is because we're using cardboard, we can just make decisions wherever we want. Yeah, that's a huge plus. Because if we install our GPU in the topmost PCIe slot, oh man, yeah, clearance is definitely an issue. But if we go ahead and do our best to push it down, All right, I heard it click. All right, you know what? We do have a small issue. You can see our GPUs being blocked by our case here, so we need to make a little bit more of an incision. Why is unlatching graphics cards so hard? So we will simply make a cut in the cardboard right about here. And now we have a longer little edge for our GPU to slot into. We do also need to extend this back hole a little bit because the HDMI is getting a little covered up. I do regret not taking the time to measure out this piece, but in particular a little more carefully. But where there's a will, there's a way, and there's plenty of will. It was really hard to know exactly where all this stuff was gonna line up though. All right, there we go. Nice little extra slot. So now if we try to reinstall our GPU a second time, oh baby, that sounded good. I think that's fantastic. Because we're not able to screw in our GPU, the fact that it's actually lodged into the cardboard makes it, again, way more secure. And so if we put it up vertically, oh yeah. Oh, I'm loving this. And you can see here that our little carve out gives us access to a single display port. So I guess we're using DisplayPort for this PC. Alrighty, it's time to add our power supply, which I actually think is gonna be a little bit of a challenge because when I designed the case, I was actually gonna use like an ITX or a small form factor power supply, but I quickly realized the cables weren't gonna stretch far enough. So we are in fact going to use a full size power supply, but the issue is the hole here is designed for small form factor. So we might have to do a little bit more carving. Let's find out. The good news is we did add a vent down here for airflow, as well as a massive cable management hole, which it's gonna make our lives a lot easier, let me tell you. And if we slide this in here, oh, there's like the perfect amount of space. You can't get much closer than that. That's fantastic. Although, as you can tell, oh yeah, we do need to carve a little bit of space over here. I just need to make sure I don't cut past the barricade in the middle. That would be very bad. You can see here the benefit of using corrugate board as opposed to just pure cardboard because look how many layers we have. All of this is helping the rigidity of our structure, although it is making it much harder to cut. Okay, there we go. Now the power port is accessible. Fantastic. Then the last step for the power supply is to screw it into place so that is nice and secured as well. This feels like an actual PC now. I mean, it has the weight to it. This is coming together so nicely. I think it's time for some cable management. Luckily, we did go with this sort of 2-chamber case design, so we have all this room to play with back here for the cables. I'll do some pre-routing. CPU power will go up here, PCIe power will go over here, and the motherboard power over here as well. I will say that going through this process is making me appreciate good case design even more so, because when you design your own case, you end up realizing how many little details there are that make kind of a big impact to the user experience. But okay, with this cable managed, I mean, this is starting to look really, really cool. But now I think it's time to take advantage of these vents that we carved out. Let's install some fans. If there was any time to use an actual fan, I feel like it's with this cardboard case, because I mean the colors, they're all brown and beige anyway. Plus these 140 millimeters are gonna fit perfectly around this front vent. We just gotta figure out a way to attach them. I mean, check out that spacing right there. That is absolutely perfect. If the stars align, we should be able to fit a second one under there as well. That's beautiful. This is gonna be a solid intake solution if we can figure out how to secure these. I have a thought. We're first gonna try to take these long screws and just see if they can penetrate the cardboard and be sturdy enough to stay there. Which at this point, it's getting kind of hard to get access to this spacing. But it does seem promising. 100% should have installed these fans before installing anything else in the case because you need access to all the little holes, but I think that'll work for the time being, which means now it's time for the part that I'm actually most excited about, which is adding a custom power button. And for this, I'm thinking we do something a little funky. Bear with me. The simple choice would be just to add a simple power button right here in the corner of the case. But I want to make it so that you need to know a physical combination of switches in order to be able to turn on this PC in the first place. If you saw my video in the past of me challenging a group of people to try to turn on a PC with a ton of these kind of switches, this is the same concept, but this time we're embedding it into the actual case itself. We'll need to use a step drill bit and some daisy chaining to get this to work, which hopefully it does. This could also very well ruin the case, so, well, wish me luck. But okay, first things first, we did add the actual button itself, and that's, yeah, I feel like that looks pretty solid. So now we need to figure out a way to add these little switches. And I am realizing that the height of them doesn't actually leave too much room to actually secure it from the top. So that's definitely gonna be an issue. We're just gonna drill a hole first and then think about it later. Probably not the best idea. All right. Hypothetically now, this should be able to fit inside of here, but as you can see, the switch is not poking out as much as we want it to. Oh my gosh. I'm going to attempt to countersink it from the bottom. Maybe give it a little bit more room. Man, we got a ways to go. We gotta figure this out. This is posing a bigger challenge than I thought. Okay, I did have to call a little bit of an audible, so I ended up just adding 5 of these power buttons on here, and now we're gonna wire them together, so you have to press a specific combination of them in order to turn on the PC. Which means now we gotta do the daisy chaining, which is probably the hardest part. We also gotta figure out which button combination makes the most sense. I definitely wanna use this front one, so like that. This one and back 2. Have to use 2 hands to turn on your PC, is that annoying? What would make the most sense? Actually, you know what? I think we need to continue the power buttons down here, and I only have red ones left. So I guess red ones will be up here, and the black ones will be up here. Meaning we're gonna have even more decoys than we initially thought. But as they say, the more the merrier. Okay, that was a lot more work than I thought it was. But now we have not 1, not 2, but what is this? This is 9 power buttons on this PC. So now we need to figure out which combination of them, when pressed all sequentially, will actually turn on the PC. If we wanted to make this as annoying as possible, which I'm not sure we want to do, we would make it so you have to press like this one and the middle one and this far other one all at the same time. That would require 2 hands and maybe a nose to turn on. A bit too ridiculous. I'm thinking we do something simple like these top 3 right here and have all the other ones as decoys, which means now we need to daisy chain those switches together. I do think that learning how to crimp and wiring your own cables is some of the most fun you can have when you're getting into like tech tinkering. It just unlocks so many possibilities. And to be honest, it's not that hard of a skill to learn. It just takes a little patience and practice. It's also very satisfying when you can figure it out. Okay, so this connector is going to attach to our motherboard, but each end is not going to the same button. They're going to different ones, and that's where we need to daisy chain. This one will go up to one of the prongs of this top switch, and then we're just gonna use some wire glue to attach it. Should do the trick. And then the other end of our connector is actually gonna go to this button down here. It's a bit more complicated, but I think it adds a lot of fun to the PC case. Now we just need to add a connection between this button and this prong, and then this button and this prong. And then it should work, hopefully. Okay, something like that. But now it's time to see if this computer will actually turn on. And if it does turn on, can it survive playing video games? Let's find out. But first we need to pass the test of the computer even turning on, because we kind of did a lot of, like, I would say, janky things to this PC build. And I am a little nervous that something went wrong along the way. But seeing lights is a fantastic sign. Should we try to press our 3 power buttons? 1, 2, oh, this is kind of hard. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. Nothing happened. All right, that's not the best sign in the world. Let me try this again with 2 hands. Oh, it works. Oh my gosh. Our secret combination of buttons actually came through, and now our PC is spinning to life. This is the coolest cardboard PC I have ever seen. Oh my gosh. But okay, let's set this up with an actual monitor to see if we can play some video games. This will also be a good test of the structural integrity of this as we carry our PC across the room. My buddy, the cardboard wizard, did a fantastic job making this. It's so sturdy. I honestly can't believe it. Should be able to plug in a mouse and keyboard. And then DisplayPort, we have just enough clearance. Even with our cutout, that is a very tight fit. Okay, now our DisplayPort's plugged in, which means the last thing is we need power. So we can plug that in as well. And if we do that, okay, now the true moment of truth. I did end up making this power button sequence a little more complicated than it had to be. Ah, there we go. Kind of feel like I have to summon a spell.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm not really joking when I say that this might be one of the most beautiful PCs that I've ever built. I mean, there's something just about all the angles and the actual slanted vents and all the mechanical buttons in the PC just fitting so nicely in there. I'm kind of obsessed with this, but now it's time for the moment of truth. Can it actually survive playing video games? I am gonna try to replicate having a side panel, because right now we haven't designed that yet. So I do wanna see how these intake fans will actually work. So why don't we just go ahead and add some additional cardboard just just like this for now. Yeah, that'll work. If our CPU and GPU can avoid thermal throttling through an entire game of CS2 Deathmatch, I'm gonna call this a success. So let's find out. All right, let's make this cardboard PC proud, shall we? That's a good start. That's a better start. Oh, the cardboard is giving us luck. we need it. PC is honestly running really nicely, which to be fair, it does have solid specs, but it's also inside a cardboard box. Oh, okay. We'll call it there. Okay, let's check the temps now. After playing for an entire game inside of the cardboard PC, well, we can see here that the CPU temperature peaked at around like mid 80s and the GPU was just under 60 degrees. I feel like that CPU temperature is a little high, but as you can see here, we did not thermal throttle at all throughout the entire play session, which I will take as a W. Meaning, guys, I think this is a legitimate, viable option for a PC case. I'm gobsmacked. This might literally be the coolest PC case that we've built on this channel. I cannot believe how sturdy this feels and how nicely this all came together. I love the design of these vents. I love the angles in his cardboard. I love the buttons and the fact that you have to turn on the PC knowing a secret combination of them. And the fact it functions as a legitimate PC without overheating immediately, that's just a cherry on top. I do really like the open chassis look, but it might be worth just having a side panel just in case we want to enclose it. And hopefully this piece should be the perfect size as well. And then of course the key is just making sure we get that nice 45-degree angle. Amazing. It's definitely gonna make it look more like a cardboard box, which is, you know, kind of cool. After all, I did not build this alone, and it would not have been possible without my buddy who designed, engineered, and assembled this masterclass of a cardboard PC case. And so who better to have a cardboard PC than the cardboard wizard himself? Let's go give my buddy this PC. Normally when you transport a PC, you put it inside of cardboard to protect it. I guess we're just gonna put this in our car. It looks so inconspicuous. Just kind of looks like a box sitting in my car. Yet another benefit of using cardboard for your PC case. Who's gonna take that? All right, let's hit the road. Dude, what's up? All right, you guys ready to meet the literal cardboard wizard, the man responsible for this project? Here he is. Literal cardboard wizard. Look, he's got a wand and everything. Jokes aside, I did give my buddy the PC. He said he loved it. Honestly, this project was a ton of fun. So thanks so much for following along. I'm Mr. Easter, your tech tinkerer, and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh yeah.